Hey there. People ask me all the time, how do you keep your call-in stage so fresh? Well, I like to use the guns, get a sense of their history, where it came from, where it's going. Think like a gun. Become the gun. So you don't have to. So today, I'll be going over two prominent infantry support guns of the early war period for the Soviets and the Germans. So when you're out with your lady, you can impress her with your ordnance knowledge. As everybody knows, if you cannot support your infantry, you cannot support your family. Today we're reviewing the German 7.5 le.IG 18 and the Soviet 76mm M1927. First up is history. It begins with the Soviet 76mm 1909. The 7.5 Schneider-Danglis was a Greek design by Greek Colonel Danglis beginning in 1893 but only tested in 1906. Pro tip: if your early war gun is curly, chances it's a Schneider Croissant gun, as the Schneider, French equivalent of Rheinmetall, had a penchant for curved protection plates. The Soviet Union got a preliminary taste for the mountain gun in 1908. And being so impressed by its performance, acquired the Schneider-Danglis license to produce a 76mm version of it in 1909. Its appeal was that it had great accuracy, and being only 632 kgs, it was versatile and mobile in rugged terrain, as well as being movable in parts. An IKEA gun. So who cares, you might say? Well, your great-great-granddad certainly cared. Soldiers didn't enjoy moving around 1000 kg pieces of wheeled steel in the mud and snow while being shot at. And if you needed fire support in World War I, you'd need to call in for ordnance and wait for artillery position far away to take out fortifications while under fire. So what has this got to do with the le.IG 18? Well, everything. At the time, the German field guns were too difficult to use on the assaults. So when the Germans captured some of these 1909s, they had the revelation of having a Swiss Army knife gun on the front line. Krupp was tasked with repurposing them for the German army for direct fire and frontline assault. The 1909's barrels and breeches were moved into new chassis, and thus we had the German 7.6 Infanteriegeschütz L 16.5. The usage of mobile field guns left their mark on German tactics and a permanent fixture of frontline infantry support going forward. High Command, now under close scrutiny from signing the Treaty of Versailles, reached out to their friends Rheinmetall to build a frontline gun using the lessons learned in World War I. And so, the le.IG 18 was born in 1927. The 18 was subterfuge to pretend the gun was created in World War I rather than recently. To the Wehrmacht's delight, so effective was the le.IG 18 that 9,000 to 12,000 were produced by the end of the war. Heavens to Betsy, that's a lot of firepower. Now that we have a better understanding of how important the role of infantry support is, the Soviet M1927 history is easier to work through. Also, it's quite sweet that both guns share the same birth date. The Soviets were well aware of the value proposition that the 1909 brought to the field, so much so that the Germans and even the Finnish were repurposing them for value delivery against their own front lines. So by 1927 the order was simple. The Soviet Stavka went to the Arogio Arsini Trust and simply said, make a better 1909 direct fire support gun. So the engineer S.P. Shukalov upgraded the 1909 and the first units produced in 1928. By the end of the war, 18,000 M1927s had been produced. They were so good that even the Germans repurposed them and used them. It's quite plausible that the le.IG 18 and the M1927 fought side by side, like brothers. However, God doesn't create breech chambers equally. Here we see Dimitri and Alex demonstrate to us the breech chamber mechanism of the 76mm. The breech used a single motion sliding block for quick reload, affording us 12 rounds per minute. The carriage afforded a 24-degree arc angle for indirect fire. Here Carl and Fritz demonstrate to us the unique properties of the le.IG 18 breech chamber. It's not supposed to do that. The breech is meant to behave more like a shotgun breech, where the shell ejects out the top of the chamber, similar to how a shotgun works. Why is this so fascinating, you ask? Because it allows the le.IG 18 to do this. The short breech chamber affords the carriage an elevation of 75 degrees, turning the le.IG 18 into a mortar. These two guns provide indirect fire, meaning they can shoot over obstacles. This is especially useful for trenches and foxholes. The le.IG 18 with a superior 75-degree arc means it can shoot over even higher obstacles than the 1927. Thus far, I've failed to mention what these guns do. Taking out fortifications and infantry with HE shells are their primary purpose. For this test, the guns are positioned 100 meters away from a well-fortified position. The position holds 30 soldiers. We'll let each gun controlled by the AI under fire take out as many infantry as possible before they stop shooting. The 1927 loses. However, after running the test multiple times, the 1927 driven by the AI seems to overshoot compared to its counterpart, and I suspect this is a targeting issue. With the player controlling the 1927, the test can be done under 2 minutes. Both guns reload in 3 seconds. The 1927 has a muzzle velocity of 380 meters per second, while the LEIG-18 has a speed of 220 meters per second. For early war anti-tank action, the M1927 is preferred, but the relative speed differences in-game remain the same. Both guns feature the same in-game elevated point of view. This is invaluable for the player as it helps put the battlefield into perspective, acting as a cheap set of binoculars for the player. In this test, we'll fire 10 rounds of each gun's ammo at a target 100 meters away. To save time, I'll show you the first and last shot of each set, but maintain the hit count. Both guns perform the same level across all ranges. However, the M1927 can shoot AP shells up to 170 meters away, while the LEIG-18 is only ranged up to 160. You can unlock the LEIG-18 for only 2 research points on day 1 for the Germans, which I highly recommend you do so. Similarly, for the Soviets, you can also unlock the 76mm on day 1. I also encourage you to take it. Now we're going to do the weapons test. The test is passed if we can remove the crew, ruin the crew, ruin the vehicle, in 3 or less shots. Also, special rule: if a gun fails to meet the criteria twice in a row, it's disqualified. For the 76mm, we'll be using APHEBC. These are great because the BC ballistic cap helps with curved armor. For the LEIG-18, we'll be using heat rounds. I've included the bars behind each vehicle to depict its armor rating. Each bar is 20 mils. The SDK-221 on the top left only has 15 mils of armor, so it gets 1 bar, while the Churchill on the bottom right has 178 mils of armor, so it gets 9 bars. Armor rating is for the front only, and armor drops off on the sides. Here we test side armor, where the armor is the thinnest. Soviet BA-20. Pass. The US Hellcat. Pass. Soviet T-26. Pass. The German Panzer KP-1B. Pass. The German SDK-221. Pass. The Soviet T-60. Pass. The Soviet T-28. Pass. The German Panzer KP-3E. LEIG-18 pass. 76mm fail. Soviet T-35. Pass. The German Stug 3A. Pass. Soviet T-34. LERG-18 pass. 76mm fail. Soviet KV-1. LERG-18 fail. 76mm is disqualified. US M4. Pass. German Tiger 1. LERG-18 fail. Churchill MK3. The LERG-18 is out. At only 400 kgs, the LERG-18 moves at 7 km an hour. At 780 kgs, the 1927 moves at a modest 5 km an hour, making it the slowest of the two. Here we're going to see how well each gun performs in hiding from the T-26 super tank. At 100 meters, both guns are spotted in the smaller shrubs, while the set of guns in the larger bushes remain hidden. At 50 meters, both guns still remain hidden. At approximately 20 meters, both guns are spotted. Here we test frontal armor, where all bars are in full effect. Soviet BA-20. Pass. The US Hellcat. Pass. Soviet T-26. Pass. The German Panzer KP-1B. Pass. The German SDK-221. Pass. The Soviet T-60. Pass. The Soviet T-28. 76mm fail. LERG-18 pass. The German Panzer KP-3E. LERG-18 pass. 76mm is disqualified. Soviet T-35. Pass. The German Stug-3A. Pass. Soviet T-34. LERG-18 fail. Soviet KV-1. The LERG-18 is out. The wave of infantry support guns peaked after World War II and receded. The multifunctional role of infantry support guns declined and was superseded by more specialized equipment, namely dedicated mortars, anti-tank guns, artillery, and armored vehicles. My view is that both guns are equally viable, almost indistinguishable. For day 1 to 4 in Conquest, I prefer anti-armor, and the faster shells of the 76mm are a compelling feature, especially while being controlled by the player. However, if I want to deliver value to large groups of infantry rolling across the eastern plains, I'll want an LERG-18. If you haven't noticed by now, the footage in this video is taken from Gates of Hell Ostfront. The fact that I can conduct these tests in this game is a testament to its attention to detail. The game can be quite technical and has quite a steep learning curve, but there are numerous guides and videos online to help you get started. If you've watched this far, thank you very much, and to the new subscribers, thank you for subscribing. I've put similar videos of this nature in a playlist if you'd like to see more. I hope you learned something today, and if you liked the video, leave a like. I'll see you again soon. Cheers.